I was always praised for my sophistication, my maturity, my ability to adapt. But it was never true. You just have no choice, do you?
Mum?
Hang on, honey.
Tom's been telling the biggest bunch of lies. He said that I'm going to live with him full time now. Mum!
Before we can prescribe hormones, your mum must continue to come to us for assessment. Now, I understand you've taken a male name. What do you think about your mum's new name, Billie?
So do I call you Dad now?
Whatever you're comfortable with, I suppose.
Dad? Dad, 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 Dad. Dad? It's Tuesday. Tuesday?
Tuesday. Same time, every week without fail.
Hey.
Hey. It's just friends from school and we just need somewhere to hang out.
Don't burn the place down and don't go on the roof.
It'll be fun. So you want to play a game?
I'm so sorry. I completely lost track of time. Okay, Jazz, take your top off.
It's about that time. I keep on telling my.
And she's been lying to you too, you know. I mean, this is our daughter we're talking about.
Every Tuesday, she's your daughter, but not at any other time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On your film.
Thanks.
On your quietly extraordinary film. What is 52 Tuesdays about?
Who's going first? 52 Tuesdays is about simply a teenage girl who's trying to find her way in the world and work out who she is. And that's complicated by the fact that her mother is transitioning to become a man, and so somebody that she's seen as a particular kind of person, it has then hit a curveball, and so she has to work out if she is the person she thinks she is or who she's going to be.
Okay, Tilda, can you improve on that?
I believe that 52 Tuesdays is about what it means to be authentic in the world. I think that's really the crux of it for me. We got asked that question halfway through of, are you living an authentic life? And I think that's really the key bit that stuck with me, and I think each character in their own way goes through their own form of trying to work out if they are living that way. So I think with each relationship, whether it be mother and daughter, uncle and niece, is that what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Got really weird then. Or like between other friends, it's all about how you can trust and respect and live authentically together.
I think there are so many transitions in 52 Tuesdays. I think, of course, there is the transition of the mother to a man, or there's the transition of Billie to an adult, and there's the transformation of so many relationships inside of that. Not least of which is the realization of Billie that her parent is a real person and an adult in the world, which is a huge shift that all of us have to make at some point in our lives, and that we then all have to decide how we're going to live with that person, what kind of relationship we're going to have. For me, that is a huge transition that everyone makes at some point, and some people make it when they're much, much older, and some people make it very, very young. And Billie makes it there in that year.
Although you have such a strong premise to start off with, the good old-fashioned teenage troublesome kid ends up basically taking centre stage there. Was that a deliberate sort of, I guess, another transition that you wanted in the film? The focus to shift from parent to daughter?
Originally intended the film to be much more of a film about both James and Billie, equally balanced. And over the course of making it, it shifted into being more Billie's story for a number of reasons, I think. One of which was just working with Tilda and just the kind of collaboration that we had, the kind of person that she was on screen and what she was questioning in the world and what that opened up, the potential of that. And one of it was just that James, in setting up this Tuesday rule where he would only see his child every Tuesday and we were only filming on Tuesdays, we felt that we could only get a certain amount of access to that character's storyline, and that actually it felt better to pull back on that, just technically, to see that through the child, than to kind of open it up but not quite give enough, you know. So it felt like a more comfortable place to show James through the child, rather than a half-hearted version of him.
How is the film travelling, and how does that square with what you realistically expected this film to do?
What I expected 52 Tuesdays to do was be a really interesting film to make, allow us to be in the process of making for a whole year, which was fantastic. And what we hoped was that it would appeal to a festival audience. Our intention was we want to get into a really good festival, do you know? And a good festival, there's, 4 or 5 that are considered those. We did do that, but we didn't always feel during the process that we would get there. But we did. I mean, we went to Sundance Film Festival and Berlin, 2 of the festivals that we most wanted to be in the world, which was a cool thing. And for me, that was it. Like, we need to get into a great festival. So we made a film for that audience. And then it won awards at both of those festivals, and now it's going to have a much broader release in the US, in the UK, and in Australia.
Why did you choose such an unconventional shooting style for this film?
It was the writer's fault, Matt. I'm a co-writer on the film, but Matt came with the concept of every Tuesday 2 people meet for a year, and we're going to film their meetings only on Tuesday, every Tuesday. And everything came from that initial concept. And that was, I think there was a real desire for us to experience and see what the authentic change would be over that time, in the world and in the characters, and also for us as filmmakers. There was a real appeal in making something in an unusual way, seeing how different a film would be if we made it outside of the industrial model that's usually used.
Now, Tilda, this is your first film.
Yes.
And this has got to be like a baptism of fire. The first film you make takes a year to do, 1 day a week. I mean, has this
crazy.
like put you off acting for life?
No, I think the only thing that could inspire me was doing something like this. I mean, I don't think I'd ever thought about myself going into film or being an actor, and I think that word still kind of feel a bit weird about. But I'm definitely up for trying it again now. It was a big commitment. It was, a big year, and I don't think I really thought about that when we went into it. But I did know these guys vaguely beforehand, and I'd loved the work they'd done, and it was an intriguing story, and why not? Yeah, it was excellent.
Given that the film turned out to be so cohesive, in all honesty, do you think you kind of got away with this unconventional approach to making it?
Yeah, we always had the intention that it would feel like a movie, even though we wanted to stay really inside the experiment. And those two things were challenging us sometimes and butted up against each other. Yes. Do I feel like I got away with it? Certainly. I don't feel like you could always make a film like this, and I think it posed a huge number of problems, not least of which was that in the edit we really had to work out how to tell it for an audience, not just sort of represent all the film that we had made. So that was a huge thing.
What is the upside and the downside of making a film in this manner?
I think the amazing thing was that it sort of didn't become a film in our minds. Like, you were working the whole time, and it didn't necessarily feel like a performance. That sounds like a really weird thing to say, but I think it drenched it in authenticity or a realism that perhaps you wouldn't have been able to achieve otherwise. The hard bits was you couldn't hide anything. It was messy, and it was, you can't go back and reshoot anything, and by 12 o'clock if you didn't feel like you nailed it, that's it. That was hard. You have to let go of the idea of perfection very early on, and that was also an excellent thing to learn, but that was hard.
Now, Sophie, you have a beautiful line at the top of your Twitter feed.
Do
It
I?
says, yes, it's wonderful. And the line at the top of your Twitter feed is, I make films, I want people to see them. Do you understand what a seismic ground shift that is in mindset for young filmmakers in this country?
For me, like, the audience is crucial, and that doesn't matter whether it's a piece of art house cinema or mainstream cinema. Always we're trying to work out how do we engage properly with an audience, how are we in conversation with an audience. To me, that's crucial. So even in this experiment that feels like it's very process driven, so much of that is about what are we talking about, what are we telling an audience, what are we asking an audience. And so everything that we do and everything we've done since we made the film to get it out to people is about having a real conversation with people so that they want to see it, not just because it's a film or we want them to come to the cinema, but because they're interested, because they want to be part of what we made. Yeah.
Do you recognise a shift in the culture with filmmakers?
I do recognise that shift. I think one of the things that happened though was that for years people were told you're not making films for market. And I think what I say is I want to make films for an audience. That might not be the biggest audience in the world, but for an audience. And I want people to see it. But I don't want to make it for the keepers of the market. And that's really different because there are people that seem to have the power to choose what's made. And I don't know if they always know what the audience want. Or maybe they know what some audience want. But nowadays we can find multiple small audiences in lots of places. And that's different. So you're telling films for people and for that audience, but not necessarily having to make them for, morning TV audience or Spider-Man audience.
Tilda, what did you think of yourself when you saw the film for the first time?
Oh, that's a big question. It was really hard to watch. I've only watched it twice, so I haven't seen it in a long time, so that's quite peculiar to come back and talk about it separated from that. I mean, it's just very weird to have a product of a really massive year of your life on screen and then like that big. That's weird. It's really hard to answer that. It is just hard to watch yourself on screen. It's like hearing your voice message or something on your phone. It's terrifying and odd. I think it was weird to feel different. I think often I had that thing of going, am I Billie? Am I just Billie in my own life? Like, is there a character going on? When I watch it back, I feel very different. That's unusual. But there's bits you hate, obviously, so it is hard to watch.
And so this is the first feature film that you've directed. All right.
Yeah.
And how did you feel it went? When you look at it?
I love so many things about the film. I have to embrace its flaws because I feel it's a flawed film, but I also feel that inside the flaws are some really nice things. I struggle with it, you are your own biggest doubt, as a filmmaker, especially something so raw as this. So there are so many bits that I love, but as a whole film, I judge it.